Good morning, everyone. It's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. How is everyone today? We're going to talk about episode 2 of Welcome to Plathville. So if you have not been following the show, Welcome to Plathville airs on Tuesday nights on TLC. Check your local listings for times. And it TLC network on cable. And it follows the Plath family who live on southern Georgia and are part of the Quiverful movement. The Plath family have 9 children. They have a very conservative life where the kids are not allowed to be on the computer. They don't have social media. They don't watch TV. The kids are all homeschooled. They don't really go outside of their farm. They don't interact with people. They are extremely sheltered. To the point where they don't eat sugar, they don't have I think I said they don't have technology. They have never had soda. There's a lot of things that the Plaths are pretty conservative about and appear to keep their kids away from the world. And away from the world so much so that their older kids seem to be ill prepared for the world as they grow up and move into it. So the family is sort of in a juxtaposition, a crossroads, you could say, where older children, Ethan and Hosanna actually is not on the show because she lives in Ohio, have left the coop and been married. Ethan and his wife Olivia have left the lifestyle that he grew up with and his parents, and this leaving of the lifestyle is causing conflict in the family because Ethan and Olivia, his wife, have decided to embrace technology, embrace social media, embrace sugar, embrace alcohol, embrace really just living as an adult in the world, embracing not having to be so conservative in your dress and in the roles of women, and just a more equitable sort of relationship where Olivia has a full-time job, is a very successful photographer that travels. She travels for photography for weddings, and overall have kind of caused the younger children seeing the worldly stuff to want to try and poke their ways into the world. And the 2 oldest children that have not left the house yet are wanting to spend more time with Olivia and Ethan, who live about 15 minutes away. Now, the Plaths live on a 55-acre farm. The kids, again, are very sheltered. They go to school and work at home. They pretty much have no friends, and that's their life. And the family is the family, and that's how the Plaths, Kim and Barry, want it. Now, Kim and Barry did not grow up this way. Barry is from Minnesota, and he went to public high school, and he lived in the secular world. Kim also went to public high school, was raised by a mother who she says was a single mother who was an alcoholic. And because of what they saw in the real world, they want to keep their kids away from that. Well, in an effort to get them away from that, it's caused chaos. So in this episode 2, their 16-year-old daughter, Mariah, is wanting to go on a trip with Olivia, who has hired her as an assistant for her business as a photographer. And Mariah's mother, Kim, tells her that she can go only if she finishes a ton of schoolwork. And Mariah says her mother gives her so much schoolwork that she doesn't even think that she's going to be her mom. She feels like her mother did this to her in order to make it so that she could never make it and wouldn't finish. Mariah says that she's starving for freedom. She wants to go to college. She wants to experience the world. She asks her 15-year-old sister, Lydia, if she would ever want to go to college. And Lydia says that she would, but only for Bible college or to study languages. And Lydia says that she thinks Mariah would only want to go to college to party. The family seems to have a very poor feeling overall of Mariah. Everything that Mariah wants to do, the family is completely against. They speak very negatively about her wanting to see the world, wanting to dip her toes into life and not be so sheltered. Mariah tells, in a camera interview, says she always wanted to be a twin, but she got Lydia because they're about a year apart. And she says that, and Lydia says the family doesn't need another Mariah. I mean, they truly love each other, but it's very clear that this whole idea that Mariah wants to explore the world is makes Mariah the bad child. And the parents talk about her being wired differently, and it's just not really kind. And even Mariah says she wishes her mother wouldn't feel so negatively about her, because as she's preparing to go, her mom is consistently downplaying that she'll be able to do it because she procrastinates because she's not good at school. I mean, her mother speaks negatively about Mariah almost to a way of control. So Olivia, on the other hand, has to prepare for the trip. And she says that she realizes that Kim might not let her go. She might have given her too much work. She might withhold Mariah just because she wants to. They talk about how Kim doesn't want Mariah to be influenced by Olivia. And Ethan says that there has now become a rift in the family to the point where Mom and Dad don't want Olivia to influence the other children because Olivia has introduced Ethan to a different way of living than the family lives. And because of that, they think that they're going to take away all the other kids. And Ethan accepts that some things will need time, but he says the past year of their marriage has been extremely difficult because their parents don't appreciate the way that Olivia lives her life. And by the way, Olivia's not a bad girl. She just simply doesn't, she eats sugar and has wine sometimes. And wears short shorts. Yeah. So Mariah eventually is able to get and go to San Francisco. She makes sure that all of her work is done. Kim tells her that she did really good on her test. She says she's putting a lot of trust in her. She's worried about her safety. And this is the thing, is like Kim is like, there might be crowded areas, you know, where someone has bad intentions and taking advantage of the situation. And Mariah. And she's like, I don't want Olivia to spread her bad thoughts about me into Mariah's head. Olivia says that Kim has criticized nearly everything about her, from toothpaste to what she eats, and that Kim doesn't like her and believes that she will negatively influence Mariah. And Kim says that's simply not true. It's not true what she does. And does Olivia even talk to me about it? No. Well, Kim, maybe it's because you're so judgmental and you think that sugar is akin to Satan. Moving on. Olivia said, Kim's position is that Olivia just thinks I'm too controlling. I'm not too controlling. Olivia just doesn't talk to me. I'm not a mean person. Right, Kim. That's why you've moved your children onto a 55-acre farm and don't let them interact with the world. That's not controlling at all. All right, so Mariah's getting ready to go away. Barry says that it's so liberal there. The so liberal is a veiled attempt to hide their homophobia, because San Francisco, obviously being the nation's hub and sort of founding area for the LGBTQ movement, a pioneer in the 1970s for many in the community. And, you know, he said it's so liberal, but he really meant it's just really gay. Let's just be real, okay? And it's just not wholesome, again, meaning that, you know, she might see a person that likes someone of the same sex. For shame. All right, so Mariah says that she has something in her, and Barry says, Mariah just has something in her, and if her parents say no, she's like, it's a challenge. Well, yeah, I'd be like that too, Barry, if my parents kept me isolated on a 55-acre farm and didn't let me eat ice cream. Jeez. So Mariah gets on her first plane ride. Olivia has to tell her the basics of even traveling, like how to get on a plane, how to go through customs, or how to go through security, all of that. She talks about how it's an awesome feeling. Olivia says that, you know, Mariah takes a ton of pictures, looks out the window the entire time. And then they get off the plane and they get onto a train, and Mariah ends up taking off her shoes, and she sees so many different people, and she's like, some of them were on drugs and even drunk. It was weird. And Olivia's like, did you just take your shoes off on the train? Yeah, that's right. The kids don't even know that it's not appropriate to take your shoes off in public because their mom keeps them isolated on a farm. Yeah, I'm not even lying. Then they're walking around the city, And she's like, it smells like chickens. And Olivia's like, no, that's not chickens. That's just the way the city smells. It's the dirt of the city. And then Olivia's like, I love the smells of the country, but it stinks in the city. Yeah. I mean, even the smells. Imagine being so isolated. How it smells is new. It's crazy. All right. So, then cut back to the farm, and Barry and Kim are with the kids. They're gonna go on a walk. Ethan's there, and Kim always says it's so awkward when Olivia's here. I mean, Ethan's nice to us when when Olivia's not here, but when Olivia's here, he's like won't even hug me. It's just Ethan's not nice because Olivia's wrong. And then Kim tells Barry he's worried about Mariah. Or she's worried about Mariah. Ethan says that going back to the farm is like going back to his old world and like realizing that his siblings don't ever see anything. They do some activities together. And then Olivia we go back to it and they're sightseeing. They go down to the wharf. They're walking around. Mariah sees a ton of different people. She tries cotton candy. Cotton candy. I mean, imagine that. She's never had cotton candy. And then Olivia says that she sees a lot of herself in Mariah. She believes it's possible for families to change and shift because she came from a legalistic church where women could not talk, children could not talk, men were in total control. She said it made her miserable, it made her depressed. She finally had to reevaluate and change her heart and think about whether or not what she was believing or being told was actually true or false or black or white or if it was gray. And she said a lot of this world is gray. She said that after she went through that shift, her father listened to her and also sort of opened up and realized that the way of thinking that they were having was wrong and not right and not good for the family. And they shifted. And she said now the family gets along and everyone's happy and she has more like a better, beautiful relationship. And she said that if it's possible for her family to go through that, it's possible for everyone to experience that. So she said that she hopes that Kim and Barry can reach that shift and sort of see that these things aren't bad. And then, yeah, they go on and try cotton candy. She walks down the wharf. She talks about all the cool shops. They look at all the cool clothes. And then they go on a sort of like pedal pub or pedal ride thing where they are pulled by a bike, I think it was. And a guy sort of like cruises them around San Francisco and they go into the Castro district where the liberals are. And you know what I mean by the liberals. So while they're going through the Castro district, Mariah literally learns for the first time about the history of the LGBTQ. She learns about how in the 1970s they had bars that were blacked out, restaurants didn't have, they weren't free to move around. But then they show her like the very first restaurant that didn't black windows out to show their pride. They talked about what pride meant. Mariah didn't realize that the rainbow flag sort of originated from that area in terms of pride. And Mariah didn't even know what the acronym LGBTQ was. And producers asked her and she couldn't name them. She could name like only two. And then she said that Olivia asked her like if people of the LGBTQ community live only in the Castro district, and the man that was giving them the tour said, nope. In today's society, everyone's a lot more accepting, so they don't have to be so isolated into one specific area. And that's true. We are a lot more loving now, and we accept in America that people can have all kinds of lifestyles, and it's legal for people to get married, and there's lots of different things that weren't okay a few years ago and are completely okay today. And accepted, and that's awesome. And Mariah admits that her parents were scared of her going to San Francisco because of what? The Castro district. And they were afraid she was going to see what? People in the LGBTQ community. Yep, that's right. Because, if you see someone that has thoughts of being with someone with another, like the same sex, that automatically is going to be like, it's contagious. Didn't you know that? It's so contagious. That's how I feel like these people probably think. But it's not. It's not contagious. That was sarcasm, in case you didn't catch that. So And Mariah said, you know what? It's not my parents' job to like tell me how to think. It's my job to make my own opinions, to have my own thoughts, and that it's okay for everyone to have a right to pick how they live. Go Mariah! She's gonna turn into a little advocate. Yay! And then they go back to Georgia where Ethan is going out with his family and his friends, or his friends from work, and they're gonna go play pool. And Ethan talks about how, you know, he's worked with them for a couple years and it was a humongous deal for him to transition into this world. And I will say the way the first episode played out with how Ethan acted, he was a lot different this episode. So I feel like in that first episode, some of his like gullibility stuff was really sort of like overacting, because he was a lot more natural and like you could tell he's a lot more immersed in this world than he gave off in the previous episode. You know, he talks a lot about how his parents kept him very sheltered, and he talks about how like he hadn't even thought about drinking beer until he met Mariah or having alcohol, and since he's been with her now he will drink, and he says he likes to have an occasional beer, some wine, and he does, and it's good, and if you do it so responsibly. And I feel like if you tell your child not to do something, they're going to want to do it like 10 times more. And so, you know, he's out there having a beer. He's not getting wasted or anything. He's having a good time. They're playing pool. He tells his coworkers about what his mother told him on his night of his marriage and pulled him aside and basically was trying to explain to him how to have sex. And he was like, Ethan was like, dude, like, even if your kid lives under a rock, a boy will know what to do. Like, a boy will know how to do it. Trust me. You don't have to tell a boy how to have this. Like, it's just human nature, you know? But he says that his mother tells him that you have to be gentle and you have to be careful because there's 2 holes. Can you literally imagine having a mother sit down with you and be like, hey, honey, by the way, there's 2 holes and you need to be careful when you're looking for the hole. Like, seriously, there are 2 holes. That's how Kim told him. So, then we go back to San Francisco. They go to the Golden Gate Bridge. Mariah sees the Pacific Ocean. She puts her feet, she touches the water, which is really cold. She says that it's super, you know, cool, like awesome. It's so big. Olivia talks about how they've had such an amazing trip and has had these amazing conversations. And Mariah admits to her that she doesn't think she could go back to the way she lived before, because now that she has seen the world and has seen and like tasted things, she doesn't want to go back to the way she lived before. She doesn't think that she could ever be that girl anymore because she's seen something beyond the farm. And that's like, she says, when we were growing up, we would go and travel and go visit our grandparents in Minnesota. And my parents would never stop and let us see anything. They just kept us in the car. And she said she never saw anything outside of Southern Georgia. I mean, imagine being that sheltered. Your parents are so afraid of you seeing anything that they keep you basically like captive on a farm, and then you are captive in a car until you get to Minnesota, and then you go to your grandparents' house and then you're there. It's crazy. And she says that she will always be a small town girl, but she doesn't want to stay there. She wants to feel and taste and see the world and try more things. She also admits that now that she's 16 and has had more freedom to go over to Ethan's house, she drinks soda. They go and have sushi. It's wild. So this is interesting because I feel like we're going to have a lot of friction coming up. The next episode is going to be a demonstration of Kim and Barry are going to go on a camping trip, and they don't want Ethan and Olivia to come around the kids to influence them. And then they do, and then they get into a fight. Like Kim and Barry apparently get into a fight with Olivia. So if you missed my episode about Olivia and sort of things that she has said, make sure that you check that out. And also, I am very, very interested to see how all of this will play out with Mariah, because Olivia shared on her Instagram that Mariah got a one-way ticket to Minnesota. So I'm wondering, did Mariah come up to Minnesota to go to college, or did she come up here to move in and live with her grandparents? It's kind of, it's interesting because she's 17, I believe, not 18 yet. So we'll have to see how this all plays out. But I do think that the way that they're treating them, I mean, I feel like they're more conservative even than the Duggars. Like, even the Duggars, like, even though they were homeschooled, they didn't have them so isolated. They still interacted with other people. And you literally don't see this family interacting with anyone. It's weird. It's bizarre. All right, you guys, I want to know what your thoughts are. Are you liking the season? Are you as fascinated with this way of life as I am? I had a subscriber reach out to me and tell me that she grew up just like this, and she grew up in the Mennonite world, and it was even more conservative. And she said it's like watching her whole life unfold. So if you have those types of stories, share them in the comments. Let me know. I'm going to try to keep comments open as much as possible. YouTube is being weird these days, and we'll see how it goes. If I do disable them, just check out my Instagram where you can comment there. Bye, guys.